again. Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. JeNeen Ridgeway, live in Atlanta, Georgia. I love coming here. And I was first introduced to Solex it'll be 3 years in February, which is amazing. And I have used it every day of my life since that introduction. It didn't take much. I saw Sheila posting online and I tried my best to ignore her. And no, I did. I really did. It was a couple months. I kept seeing it and I'm like, I am not looking that way because I'm one of those people that if I see it and it's good, I have to have it. And so I didn't want to buy anything. So I said, I'm not even looking at that. And so, one of the things about me is that I will always do the best I can to bring the best of what's out there to my community, to my patients, to my friends. And when I saw this, it took 5 minutes for me to know I had to have it. We got to a seminar. I said, Sheila. Now I approached her after running from these posts. I approached her. I said, Sheila, what is this scanner thing that you keep posting about? She took out her device. She showed me. 5 minutes later, I'm like, oh, I have to have that today, like immediately. And that night, I was, in Solex. So I use it in my practice, but one of the things that I do every single day is use it in my household. I am one of those people that does my quick scans 3 times a day. I've put in some categories for the quick scan so I can scan different things. I put in therapies where I can see need therapeutically that day. I also use those, with my patients. But one thing that I feel like people underutilize is SEFIs for themselves. And so today I want to talk about SEFI first aid. And I am going to I'm going to put together a document that has screenshots of these so that you can put them in your scanner. I didn't get a chance to do that ahead of time, but I want to start with the definition of first aid from the medical aspect of it. And it says first aid is the first and immediate assistance given to a person with a medical emergency with care provided to preserve life, prevent a condition from worsening, or to promote recovery until medical services arrive. So obviously we are not, what are we not doing? We're not diagnosing, we're not curing, we're not preventing. However, I want to give you some real life examples of how I've used SEFI first aid in my life to change things really quickly. So some of the things, if you Google first aid, you're going to get a list of all the conditions that are considered first aid. And many of these conditions are things that we can actually affect immediately with our scanners. So for instance, obviously not choking, allergic reactions, bleeding, fractures, burns, fainting, nosebleeds, scalds, black eyes, cuts, scrapes, any type of, immediate injury, sprains, strains, all that kind of stuff, asthma, all of these things, insect bites and stings. So I'm going to start with the last story first. And Daryl, is there any way, I wonder if I can put my phone up to the camera to show this picture. We'll see. You think? Like this, I want to show this picture. So on July 3rd, went out to some fireworks and I was sitting out there and I had my feet in the grass because I like to ground whenever I get the opportunity. And put my shoes back on, the sun went down, the fireworks started, and then I felt something like, it felt like a needle. I felt 2 little needle pricks, and I'm like, oh, what is that? And then I felt it over here, and I'm like, what is going on? Is something in my shirt? Needless to say, a few minutes later, itching started, and I'm thinking, and I'm outside, and I'm not thinking anything of it, but I'm itching. I'm like, okay, I gotta get out of here. So about 15 minutes later, walking to the car. By the time I got to the car, I realized that my whole trunk was covered in hives. It was starting to go up my face. My face was itching. My eyes swelled up. This is the picture. That's what my face looked like. And I had hives all over my trunk, front, back. And so immediately when I got in the car, I'm like, okay, this is pretty bad. So what did I think? I said, I've got my scanner. The wonderful thing about Solex and having this AO scan is that we've got it with us at all times. There's going to be so many times where something happens and you don't have anything with you. You're not carrying, a boatload of a whole kit of homeopathy and essential oils and all of these things, but we've got so many things that we can use in our scanner. So immediately when I got in the car, I was like, let me run APIS. That's the first thing I thought of. So I put that on. Just go to SEFI homeopathics, and you can grab a homeopathic specific to whatever is going on. Now, you don't have to know all of these. I Google them. Whatever the condition is, like what is the best homeopathic remedy for blah, blah, blah. And then I go in the scanner and I get it. Now, if it's something that I want to get in there right now and start it immediately, I'll just do that one thing. But over time, I've built out playlists. So now I have a playlist for allergic reactions. So I started the playlist. Well, I started the one SEFI in the car. And then when I got home, I started taking some enzymes and I built out a playlist real quick. And I'm going to share that with you. And this playlist reversed that reaction for me. It was pretty serious. The next day, I actually ended up having to stay up because my friend was like, "Don't go to sleep," you know. And so I was just taking some enzymes and running my SEFI. And when my throat started to hurt with swallowing the pills, I'm like, okay, that's probably not good. I don't think you're supposed to feel things going down. That's when I took one Benadryl. And I took the one Benadryl that night and I took one the next morning, and that's it. And when I got in touch with my doctor the next day, I got read the riot act and was told that that was a medical emergency and I needed to go to urgent care, etc. I know. He prescribed me an EpiPen. So that's how bad it was. But I was able to reverse it. And I knew it was reversing because everything was starting to calm down. The hives were going down, the itching was calming down. And the next day, everything was fine. So that was the worst example of it. But now I've got a SEFI list in here, and it is for allergic reactions. So I'm going to give that to you. The very first thing I used this for was I was out at a botanical garden. One of the things I love to do when I visit different cities is go get out in nature, go to the botanical gardens, go on hikes. And I was coming down a concrete step and literally face planted and kind of slid a little bit and skinned up my hands, and they were burning. And so again, I said, okay, which homeopathic remedy can I use for this? And I went in and I ran one homeopathic remedy on my scanner, and within literally a minute or two, all that burning stopped. Wow. And I've seen that happen so many times. And so I now have a playlist for that. There's my list here. Okay, so Thanksgiving. Sometimes I'm a little bit clumsy. One moment. Sometimes I'm a little bit clumsy. So on Thanksgiving, I had a mitt. I did have a mitt. I pulled something out of the oven, set it down, put the mitt down, and then proceeded to turn around and grab it to move it somewhere else. Has anybody else ever done that? Burning your hands, not the best place to burn yourself. It's not fun. However, what did I do? I Googled what is the best homeopathic remedy for burns. I think it came up calendula. I started running that on the scanner and the burning stopped immediately. Never got any type of blister, never got, I mean, like the next day there was nothing. It was like nothing ever happened. And so these are the types of things that we have to remember that we can always do something for. Um, Food poisoning. This is a big one. I've got a playlist in here. I'm going to run through my playlist in a minute and just tell you some of the ones. But I've got one in here for foodborne illness. I've had food poisoning twice in the last 2 years, and it was Dallas, Texas both times. So I don't know what's going on with Dallas. But I put together, typically the way I'll build out this list is I'll go and I'll look up what are the top homeopathic remedies for whatever the condition, and I'll put 2 or 3 of those in. And then I'll go into the homeopathics by symptom, and I'll find 2 or 3 of the symptoms that are specific to what's going on. And oftentimes I'll put in ultimate emotions because there's always usually some emotion that follows, especially if it's trauma. And I like to put in the minerals because minerals are often related. But that's kind of how I build it out. The last example I'm going to give you is just a couple months ago, my daughter and I were in Mexico, and we had a long excursion planned the next day. We were going to be at Xcaret, if anybody's ever gone there. Beautiful eco park. It was a lot of fun, but it involved a lot of walking. This was a 12-hour excursion. And the night before, we're at dinner. My daughter sprains her ankle, missteps off of a step, and she's wearing these big heels, rolls her ankle. I mean, can barely walk on it. I'm like, oh no. We're in a different country. I don't have anything except I've got this. So before we even left, and the key is to get on it immediately, before we even left the restaurant, I went in, I made a playlist, for sprains and strains. I started the playlist. They gave her a bag of ice. She hobbled out with no shoes to the Uber. We got back to our hotel, and I'm like, oh my God, we got to be walking all day the next day. And as a mom, you're like, do I cancel it because she can't walk, or do I drag her? You can probably relate. Well, I drug her. But she got up the next day, and it was like she could step on it. She wasn't in a lot of pain. There was no swelling. It had gone down. And we went to the park. We had a great day. And so this thing can really save the day in so many ways. And I'm going to give you some of these examples. But Kara, you have a question?
When you say SEFI, you're just going into SEFI and you're not doing dots, right? You're just saying like you're just turning on the
I'm
frequency.
broadcasting.
Okay.
Yes.
And
Yes.
do you have to have headphones on for that one?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
All right.
So that's the one where we can imprint over distance.
The quick scale.
Okay. So SEFI is the one where we can broadcast over distance. So this is where if you've got a family member that's out of town, you can set a playlist and you can broadcast it to them. And now another thing that I do with my teenage daughter, they're not always, if you try to have them listen to something, they're not always going to do it. So I do a lot of playlists with her, a lot of playlists. And I will oftentimes put some of the emotional stuff in there so that at least she's getting some of the effect. Now we can pretty much put any category in there, which is really nice. So if you want to follow along, I'll just show you how to build one real quick. We can go to SEFI, and then you're going to go to custom playlist and click the plus so that you can start a new one. And I'm going to give you, let's see. I stay on the old version most of the time. I find it easier. Of course it's not as aesthetic, but I find it easier to navigate because I'm old and I'm old school, so I kind of like once I learn something. So yes, I did notice this morning there were some glitches. All right, so let's do allergy reactions. This is the one that I use to get myself out of the anaphylactic situation. But I don't recommend that. You should seek medical attention. Um, all right. Okay. So now what we know is that we can go in and we can click on the different categories to add these. Um, so we're going to go to QR first. What is that? Quantum what? Quantum reach. We're going to go to QR and we're going to click on energetic clearing. And we're going to click on breathe free. Now, I was interested in the breathe free because I wanted to make sure my throat didn't start closing up. All right. Everybody got those two? All right. Then we're going to go to quantum frequencies. And we're going to click on allergies. And we're going to click on hives. And we're going to click on swelling general. And then, okay, no problem. I'm looking at the abbreviations trying to figure out what they are. Uh-huh. Quantum affirmations, quantum flowers, quantum. What is, I got quantum HPF. Homeopathic frequencies. After hives, we have swelling general. And then I have, the next one is going to be the homeopathics, I think. Yeah. All right. And so these, again, sometimes I know them off the top of my head, but oftentimes I'll just Google, like, what are the top homeopathics for that condition? So you, yeah. Okay. So I think I'm in homeopathic remedies now. So I've got Apis. That was the first one that I ran in the car. I knew that one was involved because I had all that burning and stinging and itching. And then I've got Arnica. And then we have, I can't pronounce half of these. Somebody help me. A conit, that one. Yes, yes. ACONITUM. And then the last one in that category I have is the histaminum. Cool. Do I have, no, this one is full, but I will go in and edit lists as well too. Um, but if you have a basic list built out, it's always easier. Okay, and then I went to histaminum. Okay, and then we go to homeoenergetics. And then in that one, I had adrenal thyroid support and I had ultimate emotions. And again, that ultimate emotions is almost in every single one of my playlists. Mm-hmm. Adrenal thyroid support and ultimate emotions. And then in quantum, what is this? Quantum reach again, I think. I don't know why that's out of order. Immune support and stress free. And then in what is this? QHPF. Everybody ready? Okay, and then the last one, QHPF, sulfur and urtica. Urtica. It says QHPF, but that's I think those are homeopathics again. That's back in the homeopathics. I don't know why they didn't put them all together. It's the order I put them in. Okay. Mhm. Mhm. Right. Okay, so that's just an example. That one is long. They're not all that long, but I put those all in, and then so that's an example of how I do that. So some of the examples of some of the ones that I have in here, just to make it easy to get to them, I have back pain, um, bone healing. This is actually a lady who I was at an event with her when she broke her ankle. And so I said, well, let me help her out with some frequencies. And so I started running the frequencies on her. She actually is a patient, so I put her on my multicast list and ran those frequencies regularly, and she healed in record time. She was supposed to be bedridden 24 hours a day for 2 months, and she's like, how am I going to live like that? And a month later, she was up and they were letting her get around. Um, I have breathing treatment in here, bug bite allergy, bug bouncer. Here's a little fun fact. Bug bouncer is actually a uh, what's that company? A Desbio homeopathic. Oftentimes I'll get a commercial homeopathic, look at the label and put it in my scanner. So I do that a lot. Um, say no, I put the items. So I'll click on that one. So for instance, it's got the different homeopathic remedies that are in there. There were one, two, three, four. Ledum was one of them, Kara. Five. So I put those five in there, and then I added bites, insects, and insect DT. Because it's a good one. It works, you know? So it's like rather than reinventing the wheel all the time, but now I've got that in my scanner, so I have it with me all the time. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And another thing that I do is I carry a little bottle of blank pellets in my purse. I don't have it, well, it's not in this purse, it's in my travel bag, but I carry that with me all the time. So if I ever need to make a pellet that I want to take multiple times throughout the day, I'll make that and I'll just clear it and make whatever I want to make. And then. So you put the whole vial of pellets on the phone. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Erase it when you do it again. Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Copy the name, you change the name, and then you can keep it when you're done without changing it. And you can put the whole playlist into pellets or yeah. Water. Yeah. And so you imprint the whole playlist. Yes. And okay. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. So back to first aid, some of the ones I have in here, I'm trying to see because some of these are not really first aid, but um, tummy sickness again, the food poisoning, things that come up all the time, toothache, the sprain, strain, burns, that kind of thing. So I encourage you to make playlists for all of those, have them in your scanner at the ready. We keep getting, new things and better ways to make it better. So most of the time now, if I send a playlist, I do it in multicast because I like for it to ride on that emotional balancing frequency. But you don't have to. It still works if you do it in SEFI. But any other questions? All right. Is everybody going to go home and make a little first aid kit in your scanner? Okay, good.